I went through a really bad health situation in 2019 where I had a botched surgery that almost killed me. I had my health ripped away from me, and now I have it back. And now I just want to have amazing health. And outside the medical system, because it was the medical system that almost killed me,
Yep.
and then try to cover it up. They're literally trying to give you diabetes in hospitals. The food they give you
Oh,
in
the
American
food they give you
hospitals,
is
like
terrible. Yes.
it's like I'm like, and then they force it on it. They're like, why aren't you eating your cake? Because I don't want diabetes. Like, why aren't you
Mhm.
drinking your orange juice? Because like I want to heal. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not even real oranges. It's like this, whatever they have. To the man who has his health, he has 1,000 problems. And the man who doesn't have his health has one problem.
They reckon that around about 2030, 2035, if you live that long, then we'll have the science and technology to expand your life by 1 year every year, accelerating, and you'll be able to actually, death will be optional for you. Hi, everyone. George Markoski coming to you live for your weekly Money for Life podcast. If you're watching, type in hashtag live, and the people watching the replay, hashtag replay. Now, tonight, I've got a special edition for you because, as you know, we normally talk about wealth. We talk about property investing and how to invest in property successfully for people. And I was on the phone a couple of weeks ago to a friend and also investment partner, Kamal Ravikant, and we were having a bit of a chat and we were riffing about health and about different things. And I said, Kamal, I would love to actually have you on our Thursday night live with our clients so we can talk about this because it was so good. And Kamal said, look, I just don't do podcasts. I get asked all the time. I'm just not interested in doing anything. And I said, it's not going to be a podcast. We're going to have a little chat. And that's what it was. It's a little chat. It's actually a long chat, 1 hour. But we had a really good in-depth chat. And we're talking about how health is the new wealth. Because, you can work for money and do all this stuff, but really without health, what have you got? And Kamal and I are on the same page in that. Now, you may have heard about his best-selling book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It, because it's an amazing book. It's really good. He overcame a lot of adversity and almost died on the operating table when he was in hospital, and really prioritized his health. But not only that, we also talk about some of the investments we do, because I talk about property investing. And a lot of people wonder, what's the next step? What do you do after property investing? Well, after property investing, there's a thing called angel investing, and this is only for accredited investors. And once you've got your portfolio of 10 properties, this is probably could be your next move. So it's really good to know the future of where you're going to be going, because most people listening to me now, you're interested in investing in property, and I think property is the number one thing to invest in. But have a look at this because a lot of this stuff is very secret when it comes to angel investing because we're investing in startups. So I left it up to him to open up about what we're doing and how we're doing it. A lot of exciting things. I'm going to let it roll. Thank you. See you later on. You and I were having a really good conversation about longevity and biohacking. And I wanted to record it because we came out with a lot of gold, but we're both probably at the edge of this stuff compared to the average person. And I think people need to hear this, right? But
Yeah.
not only when it comes to biohacking, I mean, obviously your working out works really well. You're full of muscle. You look really fit, which is great.
Thank
But
you. Thank you. So
you,
do you.
thank you. And basically you, Kamal Ravikant, you wrote a book about love yourself like your life depended on it. I read your book
Hmm.
before I met you.
Thank you.
Really great title, and I think very important for today's age. So I feel like a lot about your book was a little bit about Buddhism and Stoicism there, because I love Buddhism and Stoicism.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What's interesting? It was one man's journey. And one man's journey showing how he figured out how to love himself, and it's an inner journey, and how anyone can do it. And dude, that book has done very well all over the world. And then I get messages every day, like all over. Like it's either they one or two things. Either this changed their life or they saved their life. And that
Really?
is the power of sharing your life lessons in a very true, because I didn't try to make myself look good. As you can see, I was showing myself falling apart in the book, right? Like it's
Yes.
like very personal stuff. But I did it to show that how one can raise themselves out of it by working on the inner self.
Yeah.
Like and if you're talking about biohacking, I mean, look, I'm a strong believer in everything starts from the inside out. We're
Mhm.
stuck in our brain, we're stuck in our thoughts 24/7. And we gotta make that a very beautiful place for ourselves. And you do that, and you just start making better and better choices for yourself because it's just, the old classic as within, so without. But as far as biohacking goes, right? So like I've been in Silicon Valley since the late 90s,
Yep.
doing tech startups. And now I run a venture fund that, you're an LP in. That's how we originally met.
Hmm.
And I mean, honestly, it's my dream job. I get to back some of the best entrepreneurs in the world, and then when they succeed and exit for a lot of money, my fund gets a piece of it. It's like you can't. It's the best job in the world, honestly,
Well,
really.
well, I love it because you've got a lot of experience. And the thing is, when it comes to investing, it's all about access, isn't it?
It's access to deal flow because there's plenty of people who'll take your money, but those are not the ones you want to put money into. You want to put money into the ones who are going to the very top investors that the top investors are begging to get in. And
Exactly.
so it's access. It's like any private markets.
Hmm.
Any You go to any private market, and I'll show you. I'll bet you it's all about access. It's about
Yeah.
knowledge and experience, right? You have to have been part of the game. Like I was building startups for quite a while, so like I understand the game. I understand. I can smell bullshit from a founder, or hopefully, right? But more often than
That's
not,
because you've been a founder. So yes,
bingo, bingo,
exactly,
right?
exactly. Because
And
if
then
you're just an investor, it's hard to know. But yes.
yeah, that's everybody wants to be an investor, but it's like if you want to be a great investor, if you want to actually make money, rather than just spend money, you got to understand the space. It's like I like to say, if I start investing in the oil business, I would first literally go work in an oil rig for at least 6 months,
Hmm.
literally from the bottom up, try to understand what this whole thing is about. Same thing in tech. But the reason I was going there was because the term biohacking kind of got popular out of Silicon Valley. People like Tim Ferriss, who's a friend, and so forth, like popularized that work, really measuring and quantifying self. I'm not as much into that basically, but as I've gotten older, I went through a really bad health situation in 2019 where I had a botched surgery that almost killed me.
Yep.
And I lost 2 years of my life in just horrific pain and just trying to survive every day, get through the pain. And then I had another surgery that helped fix things. And as I got my life back, um, I've always used to be fit. I joined the Army, U.S. Army when I was 18, and like so that was a very defining experience for me. I turned 19 in boot camp about being fit. I was like that skinny, scrawny kid, and I wanted to be tough. And one of the ways was I learned in the military was like work on your body, right?
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
always did that. But as you get older, the stuff that we grew up on, the knowledge that we grew up on, I realize this outdated knowledge. A lot of that stuff, it was like, yeah, eat a lot of whole wheat pasta, eat like, a lot of this, a lot of stuff that's been debunked, right? And so, especially as you get older, your body doesn't respond the way it used to. Like what
Mhm.
in your 20s, you can live on pizza and be jacked
You
and
can
be in
do
great
whatever
shape.
you can do anything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Try that in your 40s, try that in your 50s, and it just doesn't work.
No.
Like the amount of effort you'll have to take to overcome that in your body is insane. So over time, I've just, and I'm also to be honest, I'm obsessive. If I get into something, I obsess to the point where I'm an expert in it, and
Yep.
it's just my nature. And it's if you obsess on the, it's one of those. We all have a same thing can be strength or weakness. So just obsess on the right thing, right?
Yep.
So I've gotten obsessive about, hey, look, I have health ripped away from me, and now I have it back, and now I just want to have amazing health,
Mhm.
and outside the medical system because it was the medical system that almost killed me,
Yep.
and then try to cover it up because it was just so egregious, right? So I don't trust the medical system to be honest. What I
No,
so
no. It's a very self-serving medical system. I don't trust
it's
it.
a bureaucracy that's self-sustaining, right? And like it's like all the stuff that's coming out about cholesterol and this and that. But you still have the medical system, pushing the like. Unfortunately, I've been in hospitals, since 2019, quite a few times, and let me tell you, they're literally trying to give you diabetes in hospitals. The food they give you
Oh,
in
the
American
food they give you
hospitals,
is
like
terrible. Yes.
it's like I'm like, and then they force it on me. They're like, "Why aren't you eating your cake? Because I don't want diabetes." Like, "Why aren't you
Mhm.
drinking your orange juice? Because like I want to heal." Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not even real oranges. It's like this, whatever they have. So you realize you can't trust the medical system if you want to have great health,
There's a big
right?
disconnect, but also I feel the medical system is very behind, and it takes a long time to get something that's a new innovation to get in there. I mean, better now than what it
Yeah,
used to be.
yeah.
You look at scurvy. Back in the day, people were dying from
Hmm.
scurvy, and then this guy discovered that if you had lemons or limes, you could actually stop scurvy. He told the Navy, the British Navy, took 100 years until they put it in place. While
Well, look
people,
at the germ fear of infection. Like all these women used to give birth used to be dying all the time because the doctors would be working on cadavers and
Mhm.
then go give birth. And he came up with it, and he was ridiculed, and it took a long time. Like it's the medical system is just imagine any old established bureaucracy where, hey, like I finally made it to the top. You're not rocking my boat.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah,
And look, there's some great doctors, like the doctor who did the surgery to fix me. I've had one doctor who saved my life with peptides through that process. But they tend to be working outside the system. They're the ones they don't take insurance in the United States. You got to go pay cash, and that's
yeah,
unfortunate because so much of this stuff that's modern and really is great for our health. You have to have basically you have to have money to get it. Um, so what's the great thing now is like a lot of the information is coming out and people can get this themselves. And so I've gone down many rabbit holes here and I apply it to myself. And I have an amazing doctor who's a cutting edge stem cell peptide doctor. He's probably the best in the US. Amazing. If everyone looks him up, look him up. He's Matt Cook at BioReset. He's been doing this since anyone in the US, before anyone in the
mhm,
US. I mean, he's like name brands, name. If I said some of the names I've seen in his office as his patients, everyone on this, whoever listening to would recognize those names, right? That level. The people who go to anyone,
yeah.
they go to him. And so I've run stuff by him and, I've learned a lot. And I'm just applying it to my body. Why? Because I just want to I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I don't ever want to have lose my health again. And what's interesting is you find that in some ways, I'm healthier than I was decades ago because it's all about being efficient,
Mhm.
like, and with food, being efficient with food, like, I've cut out, I mean, I treat myself to simple carbs. I'm not like a full purist, but I basically, like what I have today for lunch, I had a couple of cans of sardines and olive oil. That was my
Mhm.
lunch. For dinner, it'll be like a amazing salad and a steak or something, like so. and and I just like simplicity and the things that work, right? Just if you feed your body the right you in fact it's more about cutting out than putting. If you cut out the garbage, if you
Yeah.
cut out the processed stuff, you just cut out the processed stuff, your body transforms, right? And I was thinking about this before our call. And by the way, feel free to jump in. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. No, no,
spouting
that's
stuff
okay.
here.
Yep. I'm just listening. It's great.
And I was thinking about biohacking, and I think it's like the thing is you have to get the basics right before you go into the fancy stuff that works, because you don't want to. It's like you get a car and you got gunk in the gasoline tank. You want to clean that out before you start putting all the fancy injectors and all this to make it go faster and better, because you're going to blow it up, if you don't take the gunk out. So you got to get
Totally,
the
totally agree.
basics right. And what's
But
the
also, you got
basics?
to
The
look at
very
you got to look
basic.
you got to look at the ROI, because some things don't make a lot of difference. Other things make a big difference,
Exactly.
and
Like
that's the thing.
supplements. Yeah, you know what they say, you can't out supplement a bad diet.
No, you
Fix
can't. You
before,
can't. But
right?
but you can't sort of think, okay, I'm going to have acai, and that's going to make me healthy, right? It's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't see. I don't
yeah.
believe in that whole superfood thing, right? Because foods are just foods, right? One sort of vegetable or fruit ain't going to change your life, but a variety of them will,
Yes. Yes. I
right?
mean, like if you look at, like we're from hunter gatherers, and it was like hunter gatherer. It wasn't hunter specific, like only one fruit we're gonna live on. It's whatever they could find in season and that
Yep,
they could eat, they ate.
that's
And
right.
we're designed for that. Our
Well,
bodies are designed for that.
well, paleo ancestors, you know what they called a bad hunter?
Dead.
Vegan.
Vegan is interesting because it's a new thing. It's never existed in human history. Vegetarianism has, but vegan is a very modern thing that, look, if it works for you, God bless you and go for it. But I'm a big believer in if you find your thing, just go all in. Just
I
make
agree.
that,
I
just
agree.
just live it. Just
And
live it, right? Be the
I've tried
example.
everything. I've tried everything. I've been vegan, even a raw food vegan, and for me, it didn't work at all. It was terrible. I lost a lot of weight, couldn't gain weight. It was bad. So I find protein's very important to me. But I tried it, and I really believed it because I went totally against the medical thing and decided to go all organic and raw. And I found that in life you need to find a balance. Not all
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals are bad, and not all fruits and vegetables are good. You know what I mean? It's just it's a balance. It's you can't shade things black
Yeah.
and white. It's all shades of grey. So I've really evolved a lot, and now with a lot of the cutting edge stuff is pharmaceuticals when it comes to biohacking.
Hmm.
Because I don't know if you
Well,
have.
it depends.
Yep.
Go
Like for
ahead.
example, rapamycin. I don't know if you know much about rapamycin.
Yeah, but what's interesting is these are things being used outside of what the medical system use them for.
Yes, because they used to use that
Right.
for kidney transplants, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Metformin for for diabetics and so forth.
yes,
Yeah.
but I used
It's
to
but
see.
it's
Yep,
go ahead.
go. I used to see Dr. Alan Green. He's the first doctor that started prescribing rapamycin. He's from New York, and
Okay.
very eccentric guy. And I found his address. I was in America, so I messaged him, and he's like, "Go to this address." So I get a train out to Little Neck, and
Oh, in Long Island.
I've heard the little, I've heard, the subways and the trains are very dangerous in New York, and I'm thinking, am I going to get mugged here? What's going on? So
And Little Neck? No. Little
no,
Neck?
Little
No.
Neck's beautiful. It's lovely. So then I'm walking
Yeah.
down this little street, and I see just a normal house. I knock on the door, and in front of the door, there's like 20 cats eating out of um, some tuna out of a thing, and then he opens the door, and there's Dr. Alan Green. I'm like, okay, hello. And he goes, come in. And most of his lights were turned off. And I walk through his hallway to his office. It had a computer like below his desk, and I had to step over the cable just to sit down and talk to him. It's very, very unusual. But the guy was so smart when it came to understanding biology and how things
Mm.
affect you and all that. And I had a really deep conversation, and he just said this, and he's just such an expert with rapamycin. So I do rapamycin once a week. I take
Okay.
12 milligrams once a week because what it does, it switches off mTOR.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. What's interesting is it's like the people who are there's people on the cutting edge, and then the modern day, because of the internet, they're sharing the information.
Hmm.
In a way that wasn't possible before. You couldn't know this, like people just self-experimenting, sharing. Now, the hard thing for the average person is like there's so much noise out there. What to do, which one to take, what is the thing? That's why I'm like, look, the first thing you can do is let's agree on the basics.
Yep.
Let's agree on the fundamentals. The fundamentals for health, for life. One is exercise. Exercise is non-negotiable. We were not designed. This body was not designed to sit on a chair for 8 hours a day. This body, like people always laugh at me. Why don't you have like you have a kitchen counter and you don't have any chairs? Because I like to stand. I just like to every chance I get, I'm standing. Like it's like exercise is if you look at it compared to any drug, including rapamycin, whatever, they'll give you greater benefits than
I
any
agree.
drug.
Agreed. I think
We're
exercise
designed to move.
is better than any supplement. It's the number one drug,
Yeah,
but it's not a drug.
we're
It's amazing.
designed to move, cardiovascular. We're designed to move. We're designed to run fast and short distances. And we're designed to like carry things and lift things and hang from things. If you want to if you have back problems and shoulder problems, most of them will go away. If you just grab a bar and hang for like as long as you can every once in a while and just hang from it again, hang from it again, it frees up your entire joint. Like we're designed, we're upright monkeys.
Yep.
We're designed for that. So like if you can make exercise a number one priority in your life. And no matter what, no matter how busy you are, everyone can do like 10 minutes, this, that, whatever. Do the exercise. And then next comes diet. If you want to, if you want to lose fat, if you want to be fit, like, if your diet is obviously fuel, right? But if you want to lose fat, you lose way more fat by cutting out carbs and processed foods and sugars than you ever would with exercise. The amount of exercise you would have to do to lose fat is insane versus just cut out the gunk.
Well, I think 1 hour in the gym is half a Mars bar or something. Like you can't out exercise a bad diet. Impossible.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
the
crazy.
calories you can get in junk food, and that's the problem. A lot of modern junk food and processed food fools you because it hits all your biological mechanisms to want to eat more, and people get stuck on that. When you eat clean food, it's hard to overeat.
Yeah, and it's modern food is designed to be addictive.
Yeah.
You have all these research scientists whose job is to make food addictive. Think
Hmm.
about it. So it's like social media. Kids. We talk about kids being addictive. Well, you got a lot of very smart PhDs working at Facebook and all, or designing it to be addictive. So you're
Absolutely.
going again. You're going up against a whole system that's designed not for your benefit. You're the product, right?
No,
So
a
you
lot of
got to
modern corporations are hitting into our ancient signals and using that.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah. So the best thing is to like, it's not what you, I haven't said, like, it's not what you add, it's what you remove.
Hmm.
right? So if you start removing the gunk, and that's pretty obvious to everyone, hey, processed foods. If you go to the supermarket, if it's processed, you know, just don't do it. Find, if you can do like single ingredients or double ingredient foods, you're immediately going to be healthier. If you just go there and get stuff that tastes good.
Once you
Like
take out the
that's the thing.
numbers on the packet, right? When you got all those numbers down,
Yeah.
you get rid of those
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
numbers,
yeah.
you're set. The more numbers, the
Yeah,
worse it
yeah.
is.
I mean, if all you did was run a real food diet, that's all these elimination diets are like vegan and carnivore and whatever. They're literally real food diets, they're elimination diets. And
Mhm.
that's why a lot of people get very addicted to them, do very well, because you're getting rid of all this gunk they used to eat. So again, the more you can remove, the better, right? Exercise, make it a non-negotiable, you know, and especially as you get older. Like, by the way, I have plenty of time, so don't worry about,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
as long as you're good.
I've got plenty of time here.
Um,
I'm relaxed.
Okay, I mean, I could go on this for hours. Like, so we'll try to keep you focused because I really care about this, and I don't want to get to share this part of my life with people because I've gone down the rabbit hole, and I'm
Mhm.
applying it to myself. The key is to be the example, not just talk about it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so exercise non-negotiable. Like it's interesting. People thought everyone says when they travel is when they go off the rails, when they get go miss exercise or they eat crappy. So when I travel, recently I was in Asia for 5 6 weeks, and
Mhm.
some for work, some for play. Just exploring, and I make myself these hard and fast rules. I'm going to eat super clean I eat cleaner when I travel than when I'm at home.
Wow.
I
Okay.
cut and I choose my hotels by their gyms. I'm gonna work out every day.
Okay. I
Okay.
must admit, that's what I do too. I love gyms. And look, some hotels have got amazing gyms.
Yeah, and even the
And
shitty gym is still movement,
it is, it is.
right? Even yeah,
If you can
yeah. And then
find
the
at
third
least
one,
somewhere you can hang from, then you can do some chins and some
there
stuff.
you go.
Respect.
There you go.
I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
once I was on holiday in Kangaroo Island in Australia, and there's no gyms anywhere there. And I found a playground with a bar.
Oh, that's the old school ultimate gym.
I just went there once a day. It was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And
And my
and then
girlfriend
the
at the
third
time's
thing,
like, "Why are you going to the playground? What's going on?" She goes, "Really? You need to do chin-ups while we're on holiday?" She didn't get it. She wasn't into exercise, so you know.
yeah. Actually, I don't do weights. I do calisthenics, body weight.
Well, I'm
So
amazed at how big you are just doing calisthenics. That's
well,
amazing.
thank you. But okay. Look at who are the most jacked athletes in the Olympics? It's the male gymnasts. And
They've got the
now
best. They've got
look
the
at
best shoulders out of anyone. Like, look at them. They're amazing.
right.
Totally, they're jacked.
And then out of those who are the really super jacked, it's the guys who do the rings.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and I do it. And I started because I had no choice because after the surgeries, I'd had surgery in my lower groin, and like I couldn't afford to be like put
So
pressure on there.
tell me about the surgeries just quickly.
It was
Okay.
it was a
Thorough.
trauma,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
trauma,
Yeah.
medical system, don't trust it,
So you have to build yourself up again.
Yeah, and so like once I could do some movement, I couldn't do weights because I couldn't risk bearing load on. They would just hurt too much.
Yep.
So I and then so I found rings on Amazon for like $50, and I started watching YouTube videos of Olympic athletes, and then I'm watching regular people do rings, and I just started doing those, and I fell in love with it. You know why? Because it's just you, and it's meditative, it's beautiful, it's elegant, and to do any move, the only way you can do is if you get stronger and more flexible.
Yeah.
And and also rings, you can just I do that. Like if I'm traveling, at least in the US, not out abroad, it's a little some places don't like it, is I'll bring a set of rings with me and I'll just go outside and find in a park and just hang over a tree branch and there's my workout.
Hmm.
And calisthenics you can do till way longer than with weights when you're, basically because weights you can risk your tendons, your ligaments, and so forth. With the calisthenics, you basically they're getting stretched out as part of the routine. They're getting
That's really
stronger as
good
part of the routine.
because I
Yeah.
find I do weights, and I find if I do too many sets on arms, for example, then my tendon starts hurting, and then I got to slow down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
yeah.
annoying. You don't
Yeah.
get that with calisthenics when you
Not
overdo.
at all. In fact, I used to have shoulder problems. I've had shoulder surgery.
Mhm.
I have zero shoulder problems now because
Wow.
I'm hanging and I'm stretching and I'm moving them out as part of a process, as part of a move. So all the stuff you would have to go to physical therapy for, you're getting as part of your workout.
Wow.
And go to YouTube and start looking at people doing rings and calisthenics, and you'll be amazed how jacked they are. And
Okay.
it's
We'll check it out.
yeah. I find it to be a game
I
changer.
started doing rings about 10 years ago. I even bought a rope for the
Uh-huh.
time. Now you're motivating me
Uh-huh.
to get those rings out again.
Yeah. And the way I look at it is, for me, it's like, as I'm getting older, how can I be better and fitter and better? And with rings, there's no diminishing returns, because it's just you and your body, and stretching and flexibility and strength,
I like the
versus with
idea of the
weights.
flexibility and the strength, which is great because being strong at the stretch position is so important.
Mm. And
And
also,
funny
it's
enough,
it's
now they're saying that when you stretch your muscle, that's when it grows the most too.
that's
Interesting.
when it grows the most. So
Yes.
I'm getting it's actually go watch gymnastics, and when they're holding a move, they're all stretched out and static, and you get serious gains that way. In fact, I work out way more less than I used to when I used to work out with weights.
Hmm.
I just, and it's fun, it's play.
How
It's like
often do
kids
you
in a
work out?
playground.
How often do you work out?
Depends. These days, I try to do a workout every day. Now,
Yep.
it's not the same workout. It's all sorts of different things, but it's like I gotta move my body, I gotta stretch, and I gotta push it in some way every day.
Hmm.
Brian Johnson, he's gotten pretty well known as a biohacker, and
Yep.
I've spent time with him. I've hung out with him, and he works out every day. And
Yeah,
I
it
think,
does.
honestly, our bodies weren't designed to moves and then hang out and do nothing, because in the old days you had to do something every day, like your life kind of like depend
You had no
your life and
choice.
your tribe
You want
depend on.
food.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want
yeah,
food. You go do something.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't just laze around all day and get the DoorDash. There was no door. You were your own DoorDash, and you
Yeah.
had to. Um so I'm a believer in, like, every day you got to have movement. You could just, I mean, look, I have a dog, I have a wonderful dog. Want to just get healthier,
What
get
sort
a
of dog?
dog.
What sort of dog do you have?
Oh, Paige, come here. Come here. I have an amazing, the Pagey. Drop. Come here. Up. Come on. Up. Up. Hey, sweetie. This
Oh, look at
is
that
Paige.
beautiful German Shepherd. Look at it. Him.
No, she's a Belgian Malinois.
Oh, wow. They're very intelligent, those
Yeah.
dogs. They're really good to train.
Yeah. This dog. They're incredible to train, and these are the dogs they use in the military and, like, special forces.
Look at her. She's
They're incredible.
beautiful. She's beautiful.
She's amazing. She's been so good for me. She's seen so much of my life. I used to live in a condo building, 33rd floor. I got her, and I was like, oh my God, this dog deserves better. So I got a house with a backyard, a pool for her. And it turned out to be great for me, because, like, I'm outdoors a lot more. Like, every day I got to take her for a walk, and I got to play with her. Like, it's like, that's exercise. That's movement. That's also connection. You know,
It is. It
I'd say
is.
it is a nice hack. Just get a dog. If you're done going for walks every day, get a dog, and you
Yeah.
will, because you want
It's a lot easier to go for a walk for your dog than for yourself.
that for yourself.
Yeah,
And
much easier.
so the basics, if you go back to the basics, it's exercise, right? Find a program, and look, if you don't want to, you and I can just go separate ones on exercise, on peptides and stem cells. We can just, like, this is all information I know. I've gone down many rabbit holes, right? But
Yep.
exercise, find the right routine that works for you, and just commit and just be consistent. I don't care if it's Pilates, yoga, whatever, just be consistent, right? Consistency in anything in life to succeed, you got to be consistent, right?
That's
Especially
all
with
you
the
need.
body, especially
That's
with
all
the
you need.
mind.
Consistency gets you
Yeah,
anywhere.
consistency of action and execution, right? That's what leads you to greatness in anything.
Hmm.
And so for your body, why not, the thing that we're in, let me tell you, someone who's been in severe pain, like searing pain, where, like, being, morphine, and when they have to go to the ER, they give me fentanyl, like that level of pain, right?
Wow.
Let me
Wow.
tell you, when your body's off, it is the worst thing. It is the worst thing. Nothing else matters, man. Nothing else. It's like my brother told us that once. He's like, to the man who has his health, he has 1,000 problems. And the man who doesn't have his health has one problem. And
Hmm.
so the way I look at it is, as I get older, I don't want that problem. I paid my dues. I paid more dues than I ever should have, right? So, like, it's not gonna be my health that's gonna be hold me back.
Yep.
So daily exercise, daily movement, um, eating strict. And when I say strict, it's actually pretty loose. Like, I order from a Greek restaurant. I have, like, kebabs. Like, great, like, lamb, and then I have some, like, grilled potatoes and some tzatziki, and, like, I'm gonna make myself a salad.
Hmm.
That's a hell of a tasty meal, right? I'm not
Right.
missing out on anything, right? So
Hmm.
that's the one thing, people think, oh, if I eat healthy, I have to miss out. Yes, you'll have to miss out on processed food. Yes, you have to miss out on junk food. But here's the thing. Here's the secret. You lose your taste for it. We've gotten addicted to those things, and when you stop for a while, you actually lose your taste for it. So now when I have ice cream, it is so sweet. It just kind of, like, makes my eyes roll.
I agree.
you know,
I can't eat anything like
right?
that at all. No, no, it's impossible.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the secret. You're not sacrificing. In the beginning, it may feel like it, but look, also another thing, in any great to achieve greatness in life, you have to sacrifice. If you're building a company, you have to sacrifice your social life, you have to sacrifice all these other opportunities, you have to sacrifice your dating life, whatever, your focus if you want to be great. If you're going to be a great writer, you have to sacrifice so much time and just you on the blank page and a lot of rejection letters. You just everything life, we have to give up something, but what we're going for is greater. So like always go for what makes you greater, right? So I'm going for what makes my health greater, so it doesn't feel like a sacrifice because it feels much better to be in shape and to be healthy again.
Well, I
You know?
think what you're doing is you're trading long-term decisions for short-term decisions when you exercise. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
all personal growth is really swapping the short term for the long term. And the long term gives you bigger ROI every time, but it's harder to do because you've got to have
it's
discipline.
way harder to do.
But it gives you a
Yeah,
much bigger ROI. And because every short-term decision you make, all you're doing is creating a problem in the future.
that's a good way to put it, man. That's a good way to. And look, we're human beings. We're gonna do some of that. Allow yourself that. Like
Of
a
course.
couple of weeks ago, I had a giant pizza. I haven't had pizza in God knows how many years. I had a giant pizza, really enjoyed it, and next day I felt terrible. It reminded me why I don't eat pizza anymore. You
Uh-huh.
know, but you give those to yourself, but it's like you're giving those to yourself as opposed to that being your norm. When those kind of foods become your norm, um, look, um, hospital's the worst place to be. You don't want to end up in hospital by diabetes and like heart disease and all these things, right? It's like you want to live long, but you want to live healthy, right? That's the most
Yeah,
important
health
thing.
span. Yeah. The thing is,
Yeah, yeah,
I think today now we've got a bigger reason to be healthy than ever in the past. Now, I don't know if you've explored
correct.
our longevity escape velocity.
What's that?
Okay, so longevity escape velocity. As you know, at the moment we've got AI, and AI is doing some
Hmm.
amazing stuff. Like you think about AlphaFold, for example, which is part of DeepMind. What it did, it solved the problem of protein folding. So normally it
Oh
takes
yeah, 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 yeah.
but normally it takes a team of scientists several years and millions of dollars to solve one protein. And they can only do the simple ones. Now, AlphaFold solved all of them, 200 million plus, in a couple of months.
Wow.
Now, when you think about this, it would have taken scientists 20 million years, right? No, 200 million years or something, and $20 trillion to solve these problems. And AlphaFold just did it like that.
Yeah.
And
You're absolutely right. So like
it's open
it's gonna
source.
be a golden age. It's gonna
Yeah.
be an
So
olden age for health.
so when you talk about longevity escape velocity, Ray Kurzweil, he talks about
Hmm.
AI super intelligence coming
Hmm.
in 2030s, 2035. They reckon that around about 2030, 2035, if you live that long, then we'll have the science and technology to expand your life by 1 year every year, accelerating, and you'll be able to actually, death will be optional for you.
Well, that's a nice goal. And whether we reach it or not, but what it is going to happen is it's going to be a golden age for your health. But the stuff that's going to come
They'll get
out,
rid of
right?
all disease. Yeah,
Like,
2035, there'll be no disease. It'll be finished.
well, I hope that's the case. I'm a
Oh,
little
like,
less, a little less optimistic than that.
yep,
But I just care about, but like for example, yeah, you're absolutely right. The science and the actual compounds are going to create that can affect your health are going to be unparalleled. Like for so that's going to be amazing because what is but in the base, but still the basics. I'm a big believer in old school. What has
yep,
been around forever that there's actually data on that is so good for health. Sauna, okay,
yes.
dry
So,
sauna, not infrared sauna, right? And
okay.
so like yeah, dry sauna because all the data is in dry saunas. And like
It
when they've
is.
done the long-term studies, they found that a dry sauna 3 to 4 times a week, about 180 degrees, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, uh, decreases all cause mortality by 40%. All
It's
cause doesn't
absolutely.
include car accidents and all of that. It means that cancer, metabolic disease, and so forth. There is no drug that you can come up with that would do that.
Well, the
right?
amazing thing is sauna mimics exercise, right? So
It
it's
does, but
all,
all these other mechanisms that happen because you got heat shock
yeah,
proteins. You
the
also
heat
got
shock
like
protein.
sweating, and
Yep.
you get rid of toxins. So like I've made sauna non-negotiable when I travel, especially because I was in Asia. I pick my hotels by their gym and their sauna,
Wow.
and
Okay.
my non-negotiable. And so for 5 weeks, I've actually missed sauna. I have a sauna at home. I miss it sometimes because it just gets so busy. At the end of the day, you're exhausted and you pass out. But like when traveling, like for 5 weeks while traveling in different hotels and stuff, I did a sauna every day for 5 weeks except one
I,
day.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Okay, that's pretty good. See, when I travel,
Right?
even here, I'm in Bali at the moment, and I haven't really hit the
Dude,
sauna,
this
but I should.
yeah, make that your
It's only up the
non-negotiable.
road,
Make
right?
that
But
yeah. So
when I'm
there's a
back in
couple of
Australia, I've got my own sauna, but I've got the infrared
uh-huh,
sauna. But what I've done is I've put in infrared lights, and I've plugged the heat sensor to make it hotter.
uh-huh.
And what I do, I've got two iPads. I get one, then it dies, then I get the other one out because they overheat.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Um, I have an old school sauna, and I'm just like it with the rocks, because that's what
Yeah,
I'm a big believer. Look, go for what we evolved in. We
yeah,
evolved to move. We
yeah,
evolved to not eat 7 meals a day, 5 meals a day. We didn't evolve to snack. We evolved to eat periods of fasting, periods of eating, periods of gorging. Like so.
yep.
So go for what we evolved for. Same thing. Sauna has been in so many cultures in human history.
It has.
And and right, so if you look at that, and then you look at this data that came out, the Finnish study, anyone can Google that. I think Dr. Rhonda Patrick did a great job in breaking that down. I like her a lot. There's so many health influencers, and I don't trust any of them because
Yep,
half the time they're selling you something.
yep.
She's the only one I found who really cares about the science and just goes deep in the science. She's not selling you a product. She's just sharing it. She's got like a site where you can join as a member and get more information. And I'm happy to give her my money. So like
Yeah, she's
she
very
really broke
thorough.
sauna down.
I listen. I listen to a podcast. She's great. She's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
she's great.
convinced
She's
me that
really into the
sauna's
science.
great, but I've been using sauna for 25 years now anyway. Because so every house I go to, I bring a sauna with me.
That's awesome. And so like I make these non-negotiables. If you want to go for health, go for first get the basics right. Your movement, which is exercise, nutrition, diet, cut out the gunk. And it's easier. Cut out the gunk. More than worry about what should I eat, cut out the gunk and eat from more single ingredient foods. And then add in things like, hey, what's really old school that's proven to work? Then you start adding in sauna. I do cold plunge, I have a cold plunge, but it's a great way to wake up. And what I found is, and the cold plunge is the hardest one. It's like no matter how many often you do it, when you get it, and you hem and haw and you complain and you
What
bitch and
degrees?
moan.
What degrees is your cold plunge?
Dude, I hadn't cold plunge for like a couple of months because I was traveling and I couldn't. Cold plunge is not a non-negotiable for me. It's a sauna, it's exercise, it's diet,
I agree.
right?
I agree. And there's
So,
been a lot of studies recently that have debunked some of it. But I must say, I always feel amazing after I get out.
oh my God, it's better than any coffee you'll ever have. And every time you do it, when you're done, you're like, this is the best thing ever. Like, why do I
I
put it off?
totally agree. I
And,
totally agree. I never regret doing
and
one,
it does.
but getting in is difficult.
Getting it, like I will find the biggest excuses in the world. And it's funny, but I have found that when I do consistently, I say for at least a month, I don't get sick because it's known to ramp up the immune system.
Yeah, I find what I do
Um,
is I start it a little bit warmer and then each day go down a few degrees and
yeah,
I
yeah,
go
yeah.
down.
So I'm having to do the same at 50 right now. And
Yeah.
50 feels really cold, but it used to feel warm,
What's 50?
before I went on my trip.
I don't know what that
50
means.
degrees Fahrenheit, dude. I'm American. I can't do
Oh,
math
okay.
to
Yeah.
centigrade. Like,
Okay. Yes, of course. Hopefully you
yeah,
guys change one
I'll ask.
day. What is 50
We're
degrees
American.
Fahrenheit in Celsius?
It's not that cold.
I've got to find out. I'm very
It's
curious.
cold enough
No,
but you don't. This
10 degrees is cold enough. Absolutely. No. I normally
and then
start at
and for
I
this,
normally start at 52 and work my way down.
okay, yeah, yeah, I'm doing the
Once
same.
I get to about 6 degrees Celsius, I find it's very hard. That's it. Because
Yeah, yeah,
I've been to 2 degrees when I went to a course and everyone was going in there and I saw them struggling and I was thinking, what a bunch of pussies. I'm gonna kick this
yeah.
ass.
Uh-huh.
I jumped
Uh-huh.
in
Uh-huh.
and I felt like jumping out straight away. It felt like I was on fire. And I was only sitting there because everyone was watching me and I didn't want to leave because of that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
the
yeah,
instructor saying, don't tough it out. And I'm like, "Ugh." He's like, relax. I'm like, "Ugh." As
yeah,
soon as I relaxed, it
yeah,
was okay. But I really, that was quite an experience.
yeah. Yeah, my hack is I play catch with my dog when I'm in cold plunge. So I'm focused
Wow.
on playing catch with her. She's bringing stuff, bringing it back, and I'm throwing it. She loves it when I goes in the cold plunge. She knows it's catch time, right? So
Uh-huh.
she gets very, very happy.
Hmm.
But like, look, cold plunge is not like one of those that I think it's an add-on. Once you've gotten the basics, right? Exercise, which also sleep, which actually is I'm still not good at. Look at
Okay.
according to Brian Johnson, I have a lot of respect for him. He's really um, really trying things out and sharing the data, whether you agree with his approach or not.
I love it. I
He's
love it.
open about
I think
sharing. Yeah,
I love what he's
I
doing.
have a lot of, yeah, I have a
Yeah.
lot of respect for him. And, but he's vegan, right? But
Yes.
he lives it and he shows that it works for him,
Look, he
So
looks
like
great.
full
He looks
respect.
great. The guy
He
looks
look,
great.
and you know what? If you meet him in person, he looks way better.
And
When I first met him,
I can't believe his sleep score though. What the hell?
yeah.
My
Well, here's the
God.
thing. That's the Whoop score, right? The Whoop
Yes.
score is a lot more forgiving than the Aura score.
Yes. See, I've
All
got
these,
both. I've got both.
yeah,
And I use the Aura sleep score, but I use the Whoop recovery because I think Whoop does a better job of recovery. Aura does better. What sort of score do you get on
yeah.
Aura these days?
I no, my sleep score is terrible. I'll be honest. So what I've been doing is I've been working on supplements. So that's where you start adding, right? Supplements
Yeah.
that help me get deeper sleep. That make like I'm a big fan of magnesium. I do
Yeah.
magnesium taurate because I've had blood pressure issues. Also because like I'm basically bled to death, and so
Mhm.
I'm blood. Like it caused like issues and so cardiovascular issues. So um like magnesium, we're all deficient in magnesium. So now like if you got your diet good and you exercise good, you start adding these things. And I found that things like magnesium, and I test these different supplements that are like good for like, hey, chamomile tea. Okay, let's see how it affects my sleep. But now we're getting down the weeds, right? And I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
one
yeah.
needs to be in the weeds to be healthy. It's for us obsessive people
You
who
know what,
just, right,
Kamal? I test something every week on my sleep.
that,
I'm bad because what I do is each time I try something new, I talk to ChatGPT and said, I tried this. What do you think? Have a look at my stack.
yeah.
And I try to compare it.
Uh,
I've because I really got really good at it. I was getting 85 to 90 for a while, but now I've just dropped right down again.
But look, here's the basics to sleep. What thing about Brian, he says is basically he's learned that for optimal health, you have to think of yourself as a professional sleeper. Your entire day is designed around what is can give me the best sleep,
Yeah.
right? So you're not get, so basically your last meal should be at least 3 hours before you go to bed. I mean, that's very well known. If you eat right
Yes.
before you go to bed, you wake up feeling a little off, right? We all
Absolutely.
know that,
Absolutely.
right?
Like you got to avoid
So
coffee, alcohol, and food before you go to bed. Those basics.
yeah, you know, and so if you could just do, okay, then what's the next thing? You're doing your exercise, you're eliminating poor choices in food, right? The preservatives and the multi-ingredient foods. Like, man, sometimes you look at a box of something and there's like, you can't even, it's all, I took organic chemistry in college and I'm looking at something like you can eat, put that in food. Like, it's
Yeah,
crazy, right?
it is. It is crazy.
Um, and so you do that and then sleep. And sleep is very, very important. If you can get sleep right, you just function better. And also, sleep is when your body repairs and heals itself. So it's a no-brainer. So before going into all the other stuff, these basics that anyone can do, and they don't require much. Everyone needs to sleep, right? So start making sleep a priority. Like, look, hey, what he's got a whole wind down routine, right? He says, like, look, this time set your sleep. And it's hard when you're parents or you have like an active life. And so you got to live within your own parameters in life.
But
But
what
I've
time does he
noticed
go to
when I
bed
make,
though? He goes to bed really early though, doesn't he? Like,
but he gets up really early, right?
but he has
He's
his last
also
meal at 11, doesn't he? Like 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Yes,
Yeah.
but keep in mind, Brian's testing his own. He's also a billionaire. He's not working. I mean, he's working, but he's living
Yeah.
life as a
He's a
billionaire.
billionaire.
Okay,
Exactly.
so
Exactly. Being a billionaire has its perks.
it definitely, money definitely has its perks. Like I'm trying to explain this to people. Like, don't hate money because if you're a great person and you have money, you're gonna be a great person. Money, if you're an asshole, you get money, you're gonna be an asshole with money. That's all. Money's just a force multiplier. That's all it
I
is.
agree. I agree. I agree. But people say money
I'll
doesn't buy happiness. No, but it does buy comfort, does buy options, buys health, buys a lot of
tell
stuff.
you what. I learned this. I bought myself a car I'd always dreamed about, right? A really fun car. And whenever I'm driving, and now I've had it for a couple of years, I still am grinning like a little kid. So money doesn't buy you happiness, money buys you joy.
Oh, that's
I
beautiful.
literally feel
What car did you get? What car did you get?
it's a 911 convertible Carrera S, just like
Uh,
beautiful, just like I love it. It's It's like I'm literally a kid. Whenever I'm driving it, I can't help it. I'm just grinning, right?
Kamal, we got the
Money
same
get
car. You know what? It is a joy to ride. It really is.
Yeah.
It hugs the road. You feel everything. It's a beautiful car. It's lovely. It's lovely.
I mean, what the Germans do, what Porsche does with like, look, it's beautifully designed, but everything is so functional. Unlike the other supercars, there's a lot of like just design elements there. Porsche,
Yes.
everything is functional. The engine, it's like perfection in engineering.
No, no,
So if you like,
it's not like a Lamborghini or Ferrari where it breaks down all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah, and they're not fun. Like for example, in the sense that the Porsche, I can do a cross country. I got to go to California. I'll do 4, 5, 6, 8 hour drives. You're driving a supercar and you're completely comfortable.
Yeah,
You try driving a Ferrari for 8 hours and won't be able to walk the next day, or a Lamborghini for 8 hours. You won't be able to walk the next day.
yeah.
You know, Lamborghini, I say, like, look, Porsche is for people. Okay, now I'm beginning a different tangent. But Porsche is people who really love to drive. If you
Mhm.
love to drive, that's the one you're going to get. You
Yeah.
know, and Lamborghinis, if you love to show off. Sorry if anyone's got a Lamborghini here and they're like, that's just been my experience.
A
You
friend of
know,
mine's got a Lambo, and twice the engine's caught on fire when he took it on the highway. So
Jesus.
yeah,
Jesus.
that's just what
Well,
happens.
anyway, so money, money, I had a lot harder problem with money because I came from nothing. We were like single mom, 2 kids. At one point, we were in the streets when I was a kid. We came from nothing, and I had to overcome my mental issues with money. And let me tell you, when I did, and that opened up to me, and it's like, like the things I can do in the world, the people I can help, the causes I can help when they bother me, I can do something. It's wonderful. It's a
Mhm.
gift, you know? Anyway, so we'll put that aside.
Yep, yep.
So exercise, diet, sleep, right? Get those right. You basically, you got the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. The rest is
Absolutely.
all just add-ons. Like the sauna is an add-on. Okay, like now I want to like just be healthier. Like also if you have cardiovascular issues, you should be doing sauna daily. You
Mhm.
should be doing like if you have any blood pressure issues, heart issues, whatever, it's so known for making that better. Like it really reduces your chance of dying of it. So it's a no-brainer. You just should do it. Um, in fact, we're investing in a company this quarter. It's amazing. The founder, incredible guy. He was one of the early Android team, built out Android with Andy Rubin, and did all their major deals, launching Android all over the world. Then he left and did a hardware startup, sold it to Motorola, did another hardware startup, sold that. Then he went to Skydio and was a CEO. And Skydio is like an incredible American drone company used by the military and the police.
Yep.
And then he ended up in the hospital for blood pressure, high blood pressure. He started looking around, like all of us, like we're in tech, right? Like, how come we're still using 100-year technology for those cuffs, right?
Mhm.
But then rabbit hole, it turns out it's really hard. And he went and hired, okay, I can't talk much about where he hired these chief
Mhm.
scientists from, but these guys have created technology before that's made that company a multi-billion-dollar company in healthcare that if I told you what it was, everyone's used it. Every single person who's ever been in a doctor's
Wow,
office has used
wow,
it.
wow.
And they just went in a rabbit hole and how can we use just modern sensors to figure out clinical grade real-time blood pressure? And they've done it. And so they're
Yeah.
coming up with a
Oh,
ring
how
that,
amazing is that? Love it.
right? I mean,
I mean,
this is,
that's going to be
if I was
that's
to
going to
tell
be a
someone,
game changer that you can measure your blood
look,
pressure non-stop, but then you
if
can
you're a
work.
man and if you're a man 40 and above, this will save your life. This
Yep.
ring will save your life. Forget Whoop, forget Aura. Those are nice. They give you data of fitness and recovery, but they won't save your life.
Yep.
This thing, so there's technology that's coming out. You know what I'm excited about? Because I deal with blood pressure because I went through and like, so it's like I test a lot of things on myself, but now I'll be able to test like, hey, when I drink coffee, what happens to my blood pressure? When I have magnesium, what happens to my blood pressure? Like real time. And I'll
Yeah.
make lifestyle changes. And I bet you, like, I'll probably be able to resolve it, but just because of that.
It's
And
very
also, like,
exciting.
if,
Very exciting. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah, that's one of our investments this quarter,
Oh, it's one of
and
our
just,
investments.
I
I
mean,
love it. Awesome.
yeah,
It's
I just
exciting.
actually wired the money today. Funny enough, we wired
Nice.
the money
Nice.
today, and
Nice.
look at the pedigree of this founder. He's a grown up. He's done real grown up big things, all hardware. He understands hardware better than most founders ever met. Like Foxconn, which is doing the ring, actually asked to put in like mid seven figures, so because they want to own a piece of this,
Wow.
right? So there's got to be all these things coming out that can help you optimize. But what if you're optimizing, an engine full of sand or a gas tank full of sand versus get rid of the sand,
Yeah,
right?
totally,
So
totally.
get the basics down, and then all these great things are coming out that are going to just make. Look, we should do another one on peptides because Peptides have changed my life.
Yeah, because I think we're talking about the basics. I'd love to talk about the cutting edge stuff, which is more exciting
Yeah.
for people. Because
Yeah,
peptides
it's more
are pretty
exciting,
amazing.
but
Yep.
peptides are it's very exciting, but get the basics down.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you just, like it's just like you can't out supplement a bad diet. Peptides can do certain things. Well, peptides are also great for injuries. We'll do one quick thing. The Wolverine protocol, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it works.
You're
It's
talking
BPC
about
157.
BCP 157 and TB
500.
500. Yep.
500.
Yep.
I know so many people, including myself, who treated injuries that people would say require surgery, and it heals it. And what is a peptide? And here's the thing, and the great thing about peptide is it's not a pharmaceutical drug.
No, it's
Pharmaceutical drugs, any pharmaceutical drug, it does one thing, and then these other things in your body happen in response. So you always have side effects with pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you do. But there's a lot of new drugs coming out that have got good side effects, and this has never happened before. Well, metformin, for example, rapamycin.
Yeah.
But you look at semaglutide, right? The
That's a
weight loss
peptide.
drug. There you go. It's a peptide. Now,
it's a peptide.
Yeah,
it's a GLP-1 peptide.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's amazing because it's all benefit. There's no negatives if you use it in small doses. So I know Brian Johnson's using it. I started using it very small doses, and it reduces inflammation. And in small doses doesn't suppress your appetite too much. When I started, I took too much, and it was terrible. I couldn't eat.
Yeah.
I was losing weight, and I don't want to lose weight.
I've had friends who literally lost half of themselves on these things, and now and because of that, their blood pressure got fine. All their diabetes went away. All these things. I mean, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, I sent you a message on WhatsApp about that new company that's created a peptide that builds muscle and cuts fat.
Wow.
And they've done it. They're in phase 2 trials now, and they gave.
Well, look, one of our investments is a game-changing investment. It's called Mini Circle. I don't know if you looked into it, but it's truly game. And all the influencers, Brian Johnson, all these guys have had it. And what Mini Circle did was they created something really special that no one's done. They created reversible gene therapy.
Yes.
Okay, anyone can look them up. Go to minicircle.com.
Yeah, tell us about this, because this is what I'm really fascinated, because I'm thinking about doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I've done it. I've had my mom do it. I've had other LPs and friends do it. And it's been a game changer for everyone.
Yep.
So they created reversible gene therapy. So the problem with gene therapy is you inject it, it starts goes in your DNA and starts telling your body to do certain things. And what if your body has a bad reaction to it? Well, sorry. It's gene therapy, right?
Yep.
Well, they've created actually reversible gene therapy. So they have these plasmids that they create in a lab. And inside the plasmid is a strand, I think it's a DNA strand or RNA strand, that when you inject it, say you inject it in your shoulder, it goes into the cells in your shoulder in that local area and goes to the nucleus and tells you to start producing a particular peptide. So what it does is now you're producing a peptide and you have a consistent dose every day. The key is you have a consistent dose throughout the day, and it lasts anywhere from a year to year and a half.
Yep.
Okay. And then if you have any issues, what they've done is in that strand at the bottom is a hook that if it binds with, I think it's tetracycline, it turns it off. So that you can take
tetracycline and you turn it off completely.
So I'm terrified about to take antibiotics. I called the founder. I'm like, is it okay to take this antibiotic? But yeah, so that's the beauty of it. So the first product they did was follistatin 344. Now, follistatin 344 inhibits myostatin. Myostatin is basically what causes muscle breakdown and the older you get, the more muscle breakdown you have. But what's really interesting about it is, so it inhibits muscle breakdown, so it helps you put on muscle faster. That's one.
Yep.
2 is recovery. You have recovery of like an 18-year-old Olympic athlete. It's insane. 3rd, it increases bone density. Okay.
Really?
And 4th, it reduces inflammation. So now if you have something that, think if you're older, for me, I'm obviously my mom, right?
Yep.
Like, what's the best gift I'd give her health? Hey, mom, be able to keep muscle, right? Increase your bone density, right? For a woman, right? Getting older.
Yep. Osteoporosis.
Decrease inflammation, right? That is the best thing you can give them. And so I had a friend of mine, when I was doing my diligence on this, and this was in February of last year. It's been a year, close to a year and a half. I went and interviewed a lot of people who've been part of the trials and so forth and done the shots. And again, unfortunately, because of the traditional medical system, this is not available in the US. You have to go outside the US.
Yep.
and it's not cheap. It's like 25 grand a shot. But that 25 grand a shot lasts a year and a half, and it does this to your body. What's that worth? You're right.
Well, look,
And
a lot
so
of famous people have taken this and raved about it.
a lot of face people. I
Brian
mean, I know.
Johnson, Dave Asprey, right? I've been looking into this. It's amazing.
Yeah, and there's famous people I can't say on here who are
Yep.
like superstar athletes
Yep.
who've taken it, right? And think about it.
They can't test for this at the moment.
No, it's just like it's your body making your body. It's a peptide. Your
Yeah.
body makes these peptides anyway. You're just
Well,
making a longer.
Yeah, exactly. Because imagine you have to inject it every day. It costs a fortune. It's actually cheaper.
And actually, you can't do full extent 3, 4. The bodybuilders tried it, but it's got
Didn't
such a
work.
short half life of a couple of minutes. You're having like no one's so that's why they say, oh, they had a hard time with it. You have to be judicious about basically injecting yourself all day and all night. Like who's gonna do that?
Have you seen the Belgian bulls that got that gene switched off?
Yeah.
They're
The
humongous.
myostatin gene pushed. Yeah. So this is what technology is happening. So we're an investor in that company because follistatin is just the first one they're doing. They were working on one that basically, hey, imagine this one shot. And the great thing is, one of the things is your body's got a feedback loop because it's happening in your body and it's not exogenous where you're just pushing it in. It basically whatever your tolerance is, it'll go to that and it'll stop and it'll just stay there. That's another amazing thing. So imagine they're working this one thing for testosterone. Imagine you just got one shot a year and it just increases your testosterone to your natural high level. Naturally, your body makes it.
That's amazing.
Right? So they're working on that. They're working on the one I'm very excited about is Clotho. Clotho is basically makes you smarter and really cleans out your cardiovascular system.
I could always use getting smarter. Clotho's the longevity thing. So interesting thing. They'd use Clotho on monkeys and made them live longer.
Yeah, so they're doing the trials this fall. I'm gonna go get it. If you want to come with me, I'll set it up for you.
I'm coming with you. Okay,
right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right. You're part of it. I mean, we're big investors in that company. Like it's such game changing technology that I just invest in game changing technology. That's my thing, right? And some of those end up being massive companies. There's no way around.
I mean, you've got a great track record, but you've got the insider connection. And like I was saying before at the beginning, the one thing that people don't have, because it's not what you know. You can know everything you want to know about investing, but if you don't have access, there's no point. You can't use that knowledge. And access is who you know. It's all about who you know when it comes down to it. No matter no matter if it's stocks, startups, angel investing,
and your reputation. Your reputation in the industry.
Your reputation gives you access. If you had a bad rep, you wouldn't have access, right? So the thing is, your reputation, who you are, and your experience, and who you know, is the key to the lock.
Yeah.
Right?
So Mini Circle is very exciting. If anyone's listening, go take a look at it. Like I've had a few LPs, friends who've done it, and it's been game changing for them. And one of the best things when I took it, the thing I found for me was recovery. Like I could recover from a hard workout and do it next day. But when I took it for the first few months, I worked out hard for like 4 months every day, and I was recovered, no injuries, no nothing. It's like it's such a gift. You walk around feeling just better.
Well, Brian Johnson said he increased muscle mass by 6%.
Yeah, because it cuts.
Is that why you're so swole? Is that why? Because of that?
Actually, mine has run out. It's been like a year and a half. It's run out. But I was feeling it run out all year. I was like feeling it. I could feel the recovery.
So can you tell everyone, because you told me, what you used to do and what you can do?
Oh man,
that's amazing.
Oh man, no one will believe me. It's crazy numbers, right? Like that's why I only tell friends. Okay. All right, look, I'm not selling anything. I'm an investor. Just keep that in mind. So I have to give all the buyer beware stuff. So I used to do this workout called the Perfect Pull-Up. It's based on Dr. Begoff, who's an exercise physiologist. Is really look him up. He's a legend, and he trains bodybuilders, athletes in recovery, and so forth. So I saw this video with him where he talked about the perfect pull-up. We had a bodybuilder. You do perfect pull-up by you hang up to the bar or rings. I use rings. And you're hanging. You start from a hand, and then you power up, hold briefly, and then come down and hang.
Power up
and then you let go.
The chest.
Power up to like, a proper
Yep.
pull-up.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't have to be the best Marine Corps pull-up in the world,
yep,
right? A proper
yep.
pull-up,
Mhm.
right? Um, and you hang there, you let go. You just done one perfect pull-up. Everything worked perfectly in your body. And then you wait 10 seconds and you do it again. You just do perfect pull-up after perfect pull-up after perfect pull-up. So now every rep is perfection and you're working it out perfectly, right? And so what I used to do was I watched that. I was like, I'm gonna make that my back workout. So I just do chin-ups with rings. So you hang with rings, perfect chin-up. Like you hang, you power up, hold, come back down, hold, let go.
Yep.
10 seconds, jump again. And by the way, 10 seconds was I have an Apple Watch. I just look at it, or I just do 4 steps there, 4 steps back, another pull-up.
Yep.
I figured out my own system. So
Yep.
this is
Yep.
not like, please, this is not research grade,
No. Yeah,
clinical
yeah, totally.
trial
But
grade
I'd love
stuff,
to know
right?
the before and
One
after.
man's
Yep.
one man's personal experience. Okay.
And look, doing a
So
doing a pull up on a ring is a lot harder than a bar. That's the factor. You need more stability. It's more difficult.
yeah. So, but because I do rings, I do that. And so when I was able to do 35 perfect pull-ups, and then it would be like, okay, my body's like, you're done. You can't do more, right? So
35 is
I hit
exceptional, though.
maybe
That's amazing, though. That's pretty good.
well, it used to be, right? So
Yep.
this is what I did before the shot. So this is in Roatan. We went down there to anti-aging conference that I'm having there. Brian Johnson was there, so forth. A lot of founders were there. That's where the founders. My brother was already an investor in this company, like Peter Thiel, Sam Altman. Had were early investors in it, and so at one point, we decided I started talking to people. I met so many people who had done the shot who were there, and just everyone. It was just like, too good to be true. And then my doctor, who I mentioned, Matt Cook, was actually on that trip as well to help us do diligence. And he happened to know the doctor doing the clinical trials down there. They were doing them in Roatan at this kind of like place called Prospera, which is like a free Bitcoin city, and where they're trying to do longevity and so forth. And so they're doing American level clinical trials, but outside of the US, because in the US, it would take them 20 years and $100 million, right?
Yep.
To do reversible gene therapy, right?
Yep.
There, they're just doing it there. So and then my doctor told me, like, at one point we were talking, my doctor said, I'm going to get it. And he said, like, look, Kamal, because of what you've been through, like the stuff that you still deal with, you need this more than anybody. Get it. And he saved my life. I trust him fully. So I got it. And it was a little scary, reversible gene therapy. Like, I mean, we're still one of the early ones, but it was also part of my diligence. I'm a VC who actually like tries the product.
Yeah.
Like there are people who invested in it who never took the shot who were scared. And, because gene therapy is a little scary, especially if you don't need it.
It is.
So I had brought my rings to Roatan, so I have a clear 1-to-1. So in fact, the day before I got the shot, and I wasn't planning on getting it. It was the day off that I decided. The day before, I was in Roatan, and like by the beach, I hung my rings up and I was doing that workout. So I hit 35. And I go by fives. If I don't feel I can do 5 more, I stop. That's how I do it. That's why 35, right? And so I did, got the shot, not really sure what the results would be for me. And I went back, we came back and so forth. 2 or 3 weeks later, so I do this workout like once a week or whatever. It's not a crazy workout, like, because it's a strenuous workout, doing that many perfect pull-ups, right? 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I went up to 60.
That's amazing. That's nearly double.
Because like, okay, 60. Then like a month later, I was at 80. 2 months later, I was 100. And 3-4 months later, I was 120. I was able to do 100,
That is
120. And it was just like, I couldn't even believe myself that I was counting these. And all I do is with that workout is just keep going until I feel like I can't.
Yeah.
So what that showed me was the recovery. In those 10 seconds of recovery I got was enough that I could just do another one perfectly. And then recovery perfectly.
Well, you're just so much stronger. Your strength has gone quite up, because that takes a lot of strength to keep going. Like, wow. Because normally your strength goes down after each set, a little bit.
Yeah. And so like, it was mind boggling. I was afraid to tell people, because I was like, this sounds nonsensical, right? And also like, I was going to post about Twitter, but like, I'm an investor. I don't want people to say, oh, he's selling something.
Yeah.
There's ethical lines, right? So I just tell it to friends.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and who are asking
120,
about it.
and you haven't pushed it more than that, because obviously 120, you're spending the whole day to working out.
Yeah, I actually stopped doing that workout. I switched workouts around. Like I'm not trying to prove anything.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be fit. That's another thing. I'm not trying to be a fitness influencer. I'm not trying to be any of that. I'm just caring about what works for me.
Yeah.
You know, sample size of one. And then I had one friend of mine who's quite overweight who got it, and he had told me that he's also an LP in the fund, and he saw my experience and he saw how my body transformed. He's like, well, dude, I want to get this. So I hooked him up, and he got it. And he told me like, look, you know, I used to try to work out, and I remember every time I work out, I'd be like laid out for like half a week. Like he was not in shape, you know, like
Yep.
and he said now I'm working out every day.
Yep.
You know, it's amazing what's coming, right? What's so these are the things that can really help. But I'll tell you,
Well,
full set
this
alone.
is the stuff that I'm really excited about, all these new technologies, right? I'm pumped because finally we can get to the stage where science and medicine has caught up with our imaginations, you know, getting
Yeah,
enhanced,
yeah,
being an enhanced human. I mean, you think about this and you think about Clotho and then the testosterone one, pretty amazing stuff. And this is just the beginning.
yeah. This is just the beginning. I mean, there's other people doing Plato. There's other people trying to do different kind of gene therapies and so forth. There's, you know, there's also it's going to be a renaissance
Well, they were
in
charging
health.
$1 million for the myostatin gene therapy in Colombia 5 years ago.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you think about now, 25 grand is so cheap.
And the founder's goal is to make this very affordable for the general public. But early on, when you're building a business and you have such a great product, you gotta basically, you know, you gotta fund it. You gotta like the market is people are paying 35, some doctors are charging 35, 45,000. People are happily paying that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, look,
So
at the
they
end of the
set the
day,
prices.
that's how technology evolves. You get the people with more money,
Yeah.
they fund it all, and then
Yep.
it becomes
Yep. Yep.
democratized. And in 10 years' time, it'll be very cheap and everyone will be able to do it.
It'll be like $300. I mean, it's
Yeah.
actually very cheap to produce, you know, but
Yeah.
it's the research and making
Yeah.
it that's very
Exactly.
expensive.
Exactly.
You know, production is easy, but then no one takes into account all the money and sweat that went into actually figure out the
Well, it's
science and
so
making it
important
work.
to get the safety right. And you have to spend the money to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that because you can't
yeah.
just fuck around and go, here you go, and kill someone. Because I know what happened in Europe. There was some gene therapy they tried on a kid and the kid died because it's brand new now.
Mm.
It's not quite there. But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why you want to go to a company that's really dialed it in really well. You know, I wouldn't be going somewhere where it's $300 yet. I'd rather spend
Yeah,
25
yeah, yeah.
with a proven one where, you know, you, Brian Johnson, Dave Asprey have gone. That's proven to me already. Like, yes.
Let me actually I just realized it's gotten dark here because it's night and like I don't even know if you can see me. Let me turn the lights on. Sorry.
Yes, it has gone dark.
Apologize for that.
That's okay.
Um, but I actually look, you know, I think this conversation is a great one. And we just the basics and some of what the future is
Yeah,
coming.
absolutely.
If you want to do another one on peptides or stem cells, what I've seen, you know,
I'd
and
love
I'm
to go
happy to do.
deeper. Yeah, I'd love to go deeper on more of the exciting things because I think this is a good base to say to people, hey, you know, you got your three things, you got sleep, exercise, food. And now we're touching on the more exciting things, the investing side, the peptides, and that sort of stuff. Very exciting, which I'd love to talk about because we didn't even touch on
Yeah,
HBOT.
yeah.
We haven't even touched on HBOT yet. And I'll send you the
On
details
what?
of my
Yeah, yeah,
hypothetical.
yeah. I want you to talk about that. I want to learn about
Yes,
that.
yes, and
Yeah.
I'll send you the details of my guy in Europe if you
Okay.
want to get one. It's amazing. And next time we'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll leave this open loop for people.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
hope your audience finds this useful. This
Look,
is fun to talk about.
I'm gonna play it next Thursday night. It's gonna be exciting. Uh,
Let me know what they say. I would
Kamal, I
love
just
to
want to
hear what
say I
people have to
really
say.
appreciate you. Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation. Really good.
Oh,
And,
it's been a pleasure. It's been
yeah,
a pleasure. Like
it's been good fun.
I don't get to talk about this, so this is great.
I love it. Stay well. Thank you for joining me, and I'll keep in touch. Cheers.
Sounds good, man. Cheers, man.
Thanks. Bye bye.